Hi, this is TapCat, and welcome back to my quest to build the ultimate theme park, TapCatLand. Now, as you can see, I have stripped a part of this hillside bare. I thought it looked pretty good last time, but I had an idea, and I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to do this. But basically, what I wanted is a stream to run through this area. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to have it come down this slope. So it was unfortunate that I needed to move the plants out of the way, but it's not the end of the world. And I also, kind of having had a chance to spend some more time looking at the hill and everything, we are going to make yet another pass and try to make the foliage more dense. But before I get into any of that, what I'm going to try to do here is carve out something that looks at least a little bit like a natural stream. So I just don't want a straight line running down the slope, but something that kind of curves a little bit and goes to the left and then comes back to the right and so forth. Obviously, we want to use a very fine cutting tool, so to speak. So I've got the brush on just 1 meter pushing down, and I don't want it like on 100% or anything. It is actually a little bit tough. Like, it doesn't seem like it wants to go down quite as much as I would like, but I think we can make it work. Now, carving the channel's fine at a kind of fundamental level, but we do want to try to smooth this out a little bit. You figure, the water would wear this channel pretty clean after a while. Now, one thing I also wanted to try to do is just test whether we can put any water at all in these pools using like this function, or if I'm going to have to simulate every last bit of it using the little special effects things from scenery. And unfortunately, it does look like I'm going to have to do it the hard way. Now, I have not attempted to build a stream like this before. So while I have an idea of what we need to do, I definitely need to do some experimenting. So one thing I am sure of is I'm not just going to plop down these little bubbly things and have nothing more than them pointing straight up, representing the water running through this fountain. I'm going to try a variety of, sizes and shapes of these things. I'm going to try angling them in different directions. And so I don't expect that all of those things will work. What I'm hoping is that some of them will work, hopefully work very well. And then some of them may not. And that's fine, that's what learning is all about. Probably the part I'm maybe least sure of is making this setup so that the transition from the rocks that form, the base of the ride to this dirt, like we have to bridge that gap. And we have to make it look somewhat like a natural, start of a creek, a stream, whatever you want to call it. Considering there's no rocks on, this bar that I just put here, I feel like it doesn't look too bad. Now, I was just talking about making this transition between, the rocks that are this foundation of the ride and the channel here. I do have an idea. What I'm thinking is we're going to place, it could be one, but I don't think that's realistic. So probably a few different fountains. And when I say fountain, I just mean this little, you know, what do they call it? I don't even remember. But the little squirter. So we place this in such a way that we get a decent flow like this, you know, coming into the channel. And if we just build out, you know, we get a few of these in place, we build out the rocks so that, you know, it covers that and it looks like it's coming through or from between the rocks, then, you know, I think we probably will have something that creates the illusion that we need of a more or less natural stream. I guess in a way, it doesn't really matter. Like when you go to a theme park, you don't normally expect to see a natural stream. You kind of understood that most stuff's man-made, and that's fine. As long as it looks good, as long as it looks like it's something that could exist in the real world, I think that's my main concern. So we're going to just place some, you know, large rocks in here and start the process of, you know, creating this barrier. Now I want to try to position this one so that either the bottom, I think we'll do the top, kind of comes up to just below these things, and then have another one from on top. So again, like maybe we can make it look like the water is coming from between the two. That would be ideal, because that's what would happen in a real world situation for sure. All right, let's get some more of these things down. Probably not the water jet. That would be kind of funny, but no. Yeah, okay. I mean, like I said, we're just checking these out. So obviously some of these are just way too extreme. They're very cool effects. Yeah, this is probably a little bit more reasonable. So we're going to try these. Now, obviously this looks very frothy, very busy. But I think it will look more natural as we put things in here. And by things, I mean rocks. And I don't know, it is possible that I spam too many of these things in a too concentrated an area. I'm not sure. But we're going to try kind of just fitting in different sizes and shapes of rocks and see. I definitely feel like it helps. I'm just not sure this is how I want it to look. You know, I said I wasn't going to just do the straight up and down ones, and I don't have just that over here, but it's almost just that. And this is probably not really how I want it to look, I'm going to say. I don't think I'm going to redo just this one tiny little section now that I've got all these stupid rocks down and everything. But I think what I am going to do is as we move forward from here, I'm gonna tone it down a little bit on the jets pointing straight up. I kind of had that instinct to begin with, and I'm not sure exactly why I got so carried away with it, but I did. So we're just going to place these in here, and you know, I'm using the ground to partially obscure the rocks so that it's less clear that you're using the same one again and again. You know, if you just have a small piece of it sticking up, it works, I think, a lot better. So the other thing I want to do is why just have this different shapes? We can use different rock. It doesn't all have to be tropical. I actually have never seen a stream where all of the rocks are the same color. You know, like it's always varied. So the idea that when you're doing something like this, you have to use all one type of rock, I actually think is kind of silly. And I think mixing in a variety of them is really a lot more logical. So even this, like these little ice rocks, I'm going to use them in very small doses. But again, in real life, if you go to almost anywhere I've ever seen, you'll have rocks ranging from very, very light to very, very dark, very, very large to very small. You know, like, it's nature. Things just aren't always all neat and clean and homogeneous. So I think it'll look better mixing it up a bit. As promised, we're going to try placing these things kind of sideways and with a little bit of a diagonal. So again, my goal here is pretty simple. Sure, some water bubbles up, like it splashes up, but that's not what all water in a stream does, right? A lot of it is simply flowing downstream. And so this was something I've kind of had in mind from the beginning, is trying to set up enough of these so that it gives the appearance of the water actually flowing in the direction it's supposed to be. Now, again, I've never tried this in practical application. Logically, it should work. But we'll see. What I'm thinking is we're going to have some that we angle to the left and some that we angle to the right. And then depending on, where we are in this little bed that I've created, we'll place, a different one, because it's just, again, a matter of fact that the water would in fact be, shifting, flowing left sometimes, flowing right sometimes. And we'll still, don't get me wrong, like, we're still going to place fountains that go vertical, but, just not like we did up top. That was kind of crazy. Well, we're going to go ahead and try something different now. I've been shooting these jets, downstream. And this thing is obviously too big to use in that same way. But here's what I'm thinking. If we can just rotate it in such a way that it will point sideways. So we'll kind of put it inside the bank of this stream. And basically what I'm looking for is just kind of an ambient stream of water, so that it adds to the overall feeling of, I don't know if frothiness is the right word, but just that you have water in motion. And it will look more chaotic, not like everything is moving all one way. Because to me, that's probably the biggest factor that kind of shatters the illusion we're going for, is if you just see this kind of perfectly uniform pattern, because that's definitely not how it works. I do wish that Planet Coaster supported water in something other than just a static pool. It would be nice if you could have running water. And I know Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 didn't, because I played that a little bit. And maybe it's just too hard. Maybe, giving players the ability to, sculpt an area and kind of show this channel and say, hey, I want it to flow from here to here. Maybe that's just too much to put in a game and have it be practical to work. But I'm just saying, in an idle way, without understanding what that would mean in terms of a game engine, I do wish you could do it, because it would be, well, one, a lot faster. And like, if you could have the water flowing in that pattern, and then you could just spice it up with a handful of these little special effects items, that would be really sweet. But, that's just wish list type stuff. It is what it is. And I actually do think, given the fact that it wasn't in Roller Coaster Tycoon either, it must either be like insanely hard or an incredible resource hog, or both. So I guess that's enough speculation on that. So having placed those long bars, we're just trying to find anywhere that looks like it needs fine tuning, because I'm kind of reaching a point where I think doing a whole lot more is going to be like pretty low incremental value. Now, one thing I do want to try, we're going to take these more forceful, the bigger jets, but we're going to sink them lower. And that'll give us a little bit of a different look than what we've had by just placing, the smaller ones closer to the surface. So, I don't know for sure, but I don't know. I actually already am liking it, so I think we're good. So is there anything else? I mean, I could probably place these stupid things all day. But again, I think I am reaching the point where if I just keep putting this stuff down, I'm not necessarily getting a lot out of it anymore. I think we have placed enough fountains at this point, or jets, whatever you want to call them. So we are going to just focus now on placing some rocks. I want to try to make this look as natural as we can. So, up to now, I would say what we had put in before was kind of a foundation. And now that we have all the jets in and stuff, I'm just going to look for places where, for lack of a better way of saying it, I feel like it needs more. Needs something to kind of bring it to life a little bit. Now, when we finish the boulders, which will be soon, that leaves us with just one more phase before we're done with this little project. And that specifically is putting in yet more plants. So not only do we need to restore everything that was around the creek, but I realized that for me to really be happy with this thing, I need more plants. I need like serious density. Similar to what you would see, in a place like Hawaii. Like tropical, basically the entire ground would be covered with this, lush landscape. So I can't do that for this entire area, that we're trying to theme. But this slope, this creek or stream, whatever you want to call it, yes. So I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I think, you've seen quite a bit of that already. I'm going to do a couple of minor things differently. Like I am going to cluster certain types of plants together a little bit more. Not anything like ridiculous, but just I think it'll give them a little more presence if you, group them this way. And then, it's next to another group of stuff. Because things often will kind of grow that way. They drop their seeds in the ground, and another one comes up next to it and stuff. So anyway, we're going to skip to the end of this so you can see the final result. Well, here it is, and this is probably the first time you've gotten to see the stream at normal speed. I definitely feel like it looks better than it does at sped up. But as you can see, I wasn't kidding about really trying to pack in the foliage. Overall, I'm very happy with how it came out. One little trick that I picked up with these lupine flowers is I learned you can actually change the color from the yellow that it comes with to blue. And I feel like that gave me some nice little highlights in a color we did not have. So, they're not like super in your face or anything. I didn't go overboard with it. But I definitely feel like it added a little something, and I was grateful that I figured that out. I do wish you could, like edit the white flowers or something like that too, but it is what it is. So this is the final bit. I'm going to leave it like this. We have a lot of work to do out here, as you can see. Like the difference is kind of staggering. I cannot do this level of foliage throughout the entire tropical area. It's just not practical. took me quite a few hours to pack this in. And yeah, it would just be insane to do that out there. But I have a couple of ideas for, something we might try to make the paths look a little different than they do in the rest of the park. And, hopefully that will help. And we'll take it from there. But at any rate, if you want to see what happens with that, then you're going to need to come back. Because that is all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.